What do you get when you take people dedicated to their craft, going through leaps and bounds, acting on their plan of action even in the midst of adversity? You get a heartfelt story so organic and becoming so genuine, which forces you to be a part of their moment, joining these experiences as if you were a part of them. These are stories of people, just like you and I, reflecting from within on how they've used adversity to catapult their lifestyle, their vision, and their goals to becoming successful. Here at the Stories to Savor Network, we welcome you to this wonderful, heartfelt show entitled Reflections from Inside. So the next time you go through trials and tribulations, or having self-doubt, consider to let the stories resonate with you in hopes to inspire you to believe that you can do whatever you set your mind to do.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We are talking with head chef and owner of LUELLA'S Southern Kitchen, Darnell Reed. Before the break, we talked a little bit about the financial sacrifices that you went through to get this dream started. Let's talk a little bit about the impact that making this decision had not only on you, because you sacrificed a lot of your time in order to do this, but your relationship with your family. How did that affect your family relationships?
Well, actually, so let's say my immediate family, like my mom, my grandma, my dad as well, they were kind of, like I mentioned, I've been working since I was 16. They were kind of used to me being like a workaholic and always at work and things like that. So transitioning to the restaurant, it was kind of business as usual for them. But then I do have my girlfriend, and now we have 2 kids. So I would say Jocelyn, first of all, I met her in the industry. She used to be, I was one of the chefs of a restaurant. She was a hostess. So she's been very supportive as well. So that's been good for me, that she's been very supportive. And she understood she's been around it. She knows the business. Right now today, she's a nurse, so she works lots of hours herself as well. So we just try to balance things out. So I do have a lot of support from the family. I do still get those times where I have a 7-month-old and a 4-year-old where when I'm leaving for work, 4-year-old start crying like, "Oh, you're gonna leave me again?"
You to leave.
Yeah. How many times you gonna leave me? She says it. You leave.
And it's breaking your heart, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I do get that, but I will say, as far as support, I definitely do get. I'm very supported by the family, especially I would say my dad, yes, but my mom's side, because that's the side of the family that actually knew and grew up around Luella.
Okay.
So they're like really proud that, and I even have cousins and uncles and things like that that'll text me every now and then. Hey, thank you for doing this for my grandma. Thank you for doing this for like they actually thank me for doing it. And one of my bigger supporters or biggest supporters, I know I didn't in the beginning. I talked about how her and my mom had a rough patch because of my mom having the baby early and things like that, is my grandmother. And she brings like big groups to the restaurant all the time because she's so proud of me.
She's such
proud
a fan.
of the restaurant actually being open, the restaurant existing. So it's usually Sunday. She'll bring like a Sunday church group that come to the restaurant. She'll show me off all the, this is my grandson. He has this restaurant here. So, and for her, it's an honor as well because I opened a restaurant named after her mom.
Right.
Every now and then she does say, "Well, you're gonna have to open one for me at some point." Like she'll throw that in there. She'll let me know.
I might have to agree with her.
You're gonna have to open the restaurant, and then my mom the same. So I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna have my mom's restaurant, my
You're gonna have a chain.
My great grandmother. So hopefully at some point we can actually do that. Now, aside from my family, I must say that I do get a lot of support from my Hilton family because I spent so much time with them. So a lot of people who I work with from Hilton, and quite a few of them actually moved on to work for the LUELLA'S, which is downtown as well. We get a lot of groups from there, from both hotels. From the Hilton and from the LUELLA'S, we get people who support the restaurant periodically, and sometimes they'll have like, well, actually not sometimes, they actually have like quarterly get-togethers. And it'll be a group that'll come to the restaurant from, it's kind of slash, because it's kind of like Hilton / LUELLA'S, and they'll come and eat there, and I feel supported by them as well. So it's been pretty good. That's good.
It seems like you have a great support system between all of that. So when it came time to really get the restaurant up and going, what was that process like? Selecting the location, finding the dishes that you were going to use, the silverware. How did that work?
Well, okay, when it was time to get the restaurant up and going, initially I checked Hyde Park. There was a place, I forget if it's Emilio's or Eduardo's. It was a pizza place, and it was just closing down. I was interested in the location, but I was told that it needed renovation. It was going to take a while.
Okay.
So they advised me to go look elsewhere.
Okay.
And I took my business plan and we checked other areas, and I remember the lady who was a real estate agent, she's like, hey, you know what? Your concept will fit perfect in Lincoln Square.
Really?
And she took me to it. She took me to Lincoln Square, showed me around.
Was that your first exposure to the area in terms of looking at it for a restaurant opportunity then?
Yes, because I've been there not often, but there's another restaurant down the street from us, Garcia's restaurant.
Okay.
I've been there a few times, but I never was very familiar with Lincoln Square. But when she showed me the space and I kind of started to survey the neighborhood, I started to eat in other restaurants in the neighborhood, and I was like, I want to be here. You know, I wanted to be there. And I felt that she was right. Hey, you have an Italian spot down the street, you have a sushi spot here, but you don't have a Southern restaurant.
So you were going to be a unique.
Yeah, so she thought like it would fit in, and we have. We fit in that neighborhood, so it was a good decision to actually choose Lincoln Square. And yeah, now it's 4 years later, we're still there. And like you said, as far as choosing the product and the serving dishes and things like that, I've already had good relationships with people through Hilton, so that was kind of easy for me.
You knew what direction you were going in. Yeah.
I knew where I wanted to get my local produce or livestock or anything like that. I knew where I was going to go with it, so I was good with that. And then the only other thing that I will say about the support from Hilton was I had a few people in the beginning when we were just trying to get up and running, because they knew how hard it was to run a restaurant. They'll come and help out. Like, hey, if you need help this day, and most of them refused to be paid.
Wow.
Like, no, you're not going to pay me. What are you talking about?
I'm here
I just
to help.
came to help.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so that was
Which speaks to your character then.
Yeah, so
and the
that
relationships
was,
you build. That's very nice.
Yeah, so it kind of made me, which I've done it for people as well now. I feel like it made me feel like maybe I should, you know, even though I've helped along the way, but if someone's opening a restaurant who I know, I help out wherever I can, because I feel like I should support people the way I felt
forward.
Support.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I love that you chose Lincoln Square as the location, because most people would instantly think it's a Southern kitchen. It needs to be on the South Side, right? Or it needs to be in a community that's already familiar with the cuisine. And you're going, no, I'm putting it somewhere where people have not experienced this yet.
Yeah.
I think that was a huge win for you.
Yeah, and it worked out. It did work out, because I actually felt that way. I'm like, you know what? And it does happen. I was actually mentioning it to someone earlier today that sometimes we have customers that walk into the restaurant and they're like already kind of upset with me. Like, why are you here?
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Why are you here? You know, we live on the South Side. We had to come all the way over here to try the restaurant and different things like that. And I still thank them for actually coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes I explain to them what happened. Like, hey, you know what? I did look south first, but I landed at Lincoln Square and I made the decision because of the same reasons. Like, there was nothing else like this over here.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I won't say that I welcome competition. So it's not that I was trying not to compete with restaurants on the South Side. I welcome it, and I think that it can be healthy.
Yes.
It's kind of a different subject, but I'll just say really quickly, like I tell a lot of people that like you can have a mall with all restaurants that's doing what I'm doing, because if you can't have it, then how do they have it in Chinatown?
Right. Yeah.
It's like, so it's not like the competition, and they seem to all be thriving. I've been eating there since I was a kid, and all the restaurants are still there.
Good, yeah.
So
I get what you're saying.
But I just felt that it's also something to be said for introducing a new concept to a new neighborhood. So that's why I chose, that's the reason why I chose Lincoln Square. So I do explain that to people.
I love it. So when we come back, I'd like to talk a little bit more about what's next for you, because you have a second restaurant that you've opened up, and maybe we'll be looking at a third and a fourth, and
hopefully with some
diversifying some of the neighborhoods perhaps or something. So when we return, we'll talk with Darnell about his second restaurant, LUELLA'S Gospel Bird, and how that came to be, and then what's in store for his future.